recognize this lovely young lady. That is my granddaughter. For those of you who've been here for a while, you understand that you will be exposed to something about one of my grandchildren at every session that I have a chance to speak. So here it is, Miss Macy, my granddaughter. You notice all that flowing hair in that picture. That was when we did the inauguration here and she was passing out programs. A few weeks ago, she came up to her mother after she'd been alone for a while with a pair of scissors and a hunk of hair in her hand. And she said, "Look, Mom, I cut my hair." Well, needless to say, the next morning was spent in the beauty shop, correcting some of that problem. That evening I called and asked Macy how she had done that day. And she said, well, she'd been to the beauty shop. And I said, well, why did you go to the beauty shop, Macy? And she said, well, Papa, I cut my hair and I didn't do a very professional job. Now she's 6 years old and she understands the concept of being professional, that it represents doing something very well. Think about that. All of us professionals in here impact the lives of individuals because we do things better than they can. And that is important. So I was down there a week ago and I took the family to dinner. What I thought would be a lovely dinner in a very elegant place. We happened to walk through the bar. The bar was decorated with a metallic cloth and sparkly lights, and the bartender had on a tucked shirt and bow tie, and people were obviously having a grand time in the bar, and we walked through there to go into the dining room. The dining room was a typical nice restaurant dining room with dark wood and white tablecloths, and rather subdued crowd on that side. And as we were walking through the bar area, Macy said, "This is really fancy." And when we got into the other area, she was not so impressed. We sat down, the waiter came, took our drink order, and just as he left, in a voice that could be heard for tables around us, she said to me, "Papa, I think this is where the poor people eat." Now, I went downhill from there. I was determined this was going to be an elegant experience, and she was determined that she was going to demonstrate what 6-year-olds are capable of. Toward the end of the meal, she looked at me and said, "I will never come back here again." And I looked at her and I said, "You're absolutely right. We won't bring you back." The next day, her mother takes her to Dairy Queen. In the middle of the meal at Dairy Queen, she leans over to her mother and says, "Now this is really a good restaurant." The point is, the environment must be appropriate for the individual. And we have to spend time here creating an environment that is appropriate for the students who will study with us. We must keep it clean, well-maintained. It must provide the technology necessary for individuals to be successful. And you and I have the responsibility to make sure that every one of those people are comfortable here. Now, the good news for the coming year, we have a strong entering class again. The bad news, we're as crowded in our residence halls as we can be.